Ladies and gentlemen, it is often said that democracy dies in darkness. Not always. It can also be dealt a bloody blow in broad daylight at an airport where a professor is detained and deported because she's a critic of Prime Minister Modi. Ladies and gentlemen, we are a country of 145 crore people. We all have our points of view. We all have our ideologies. Some of us vote for the BJP, some of us vote for the Congress, some vote for the DMK, some vote for the BJD. But does being a Modi critic or questioning the Prime Minister's policies make you anti-India or pro-Pakistani or pro-Khalistani? Does it mean that you should be stopped from entering your own country? I ask you these questions in the context of what happened to Professor Nitasha Kaul at the Bangalore airport. Professor Kaul teaches at the University of Westminster in London and is an alumni of the SRCC, that's the Sri Ram College of Commerce, here in New Delhi. Professor Kaul, on the invite of the Karnataka government, had flown down to Bangalore to attend a conference on the Constitution. She was not earmarked to speak or be part of a panel. She was invited as a delegate. What happened next was shocking. Professor Kaul was detained and questioned for 72 hours, and then she was deported back to London. Well, no reason was given, but she says the immigration officials kept asking her if she was the same lady who kept criticizing the RSS. Now, Professor Kaul holds an OIC card, that is an Overseas Indian Citizen card, that gives her the right to visit, live and work in India. Her mother lives here. Then why was she stopped? Was she a threat to India's sovereignty, integrity and security? That question was asked to the External Affairs Ministry, but it is mum. But the Karnataka BJP is giving the game away. The BJP's Karnataka unit tweeted to say that the Kashmiri Pandit professor was a Pakistani sympathizer who spewed anti-India venom on foreign soil. They called her part of the Tukde Tukde gang and then congratulated the immigration officers of sending her back to England. To support their argument, they have circulated a video where Professor Kaul is criticizing Yogi Adityanath and Prime Minister Modi. The Congress government in Karnataka that had extended that invite to the professor is questioning the state of democracy under the Prime Minister. Listen in.
She has an anti-India mindset. She claims to be a Kashmiri Pandit. She might be also. That's not the point. She's pro-Pakistan. All her talks and all her writings about giving the Kashmir back to Pakistan. She has spewed poison about India's constitution, democracy and everything. Such a person, you invite her to come to Karnataka to give a talk on the constitution itself, that doesn't make any sense.
Just because she doesn't subscribe to your ideology, is this dictatorship in the country today? Is there no freedom of expression? Is there no freedom to participate in a debate on constitution? So I want to ask the BJP and the central government, what is your problem with the constitution? Time and again you want to change the constitution. This is an insult to the 6.5 crore Kannadigas who elected a government, and that government invites an academic, and this central government headed by Mr. Modi belonging to BJP denies her the entry.
Now, in case you missed the irony, ladies and gentlemen, a professor who was invited for a conference on the Constitution was denied a basic right that the Constitution gives us, the right to free speech. Here is my limited submission to you. I have gone through Professor Kaul's Twitter handles. She has strong opinions on Kashmir. She comes from there. She has said that the plight of Kashmiri Hindus is weaponized and used against its Muslim citizens, and that Kashmir is under the heel of Indian colonialism. Do I agree with her on these 2 points? Of course not, I don't. But But does that give me the right to call her anti-India, a commie, a Pakistani sympathizer, part of the Tukde Tukde gang? No, it doesn't. More importantly, does Professor Kaul's criticism of Prime Minister Modi and his Kashmir policy give India the right to deport her? No, it doesn't. Ladies and gentlemen, dissent is the safety valve of our democracy. Dissent is not anti-national. Dissent is the highest form of patriotism. You may not agree with me, and that is perfectly okay. It is your democratic right. Just like it is Professor Kaul's democratic right to criticize what she doesn't agree with. And it is that right, ladies and gentlemen, that was trampled upon at the Bangalore airport 72 hours ago. Pradeep Mohar is leader of the BJP, joining us from the broadcast. Shatabish Shivanna is spokesperson of the Congress party, joining us on the broadcast. And Sanjay Jha is joining us as well. Thank you very much. And Priya Chetty Rajgopalan is the founder, Heritage Beku. She joins us on the broadcast. Thank you very much, Sanjay Jha. I've been going through your book, and I know that this is a subject that you feel very strongly strongly on. So let me start by asking you what worries you about what happened at the Bangalore airport.
Let me tell you one thing, Shreya. If I go by what the BJP leaders have been uttering today, the eminent jurist who died recently, Fali S Nariman, was extremely critical of the Article 370 judgment given by the Supreme Court. Would the BJP call him an anti-national? Was that an act of sedition to challenge it? I mean, it's an absolutely preposterous kind of a political conversation we are having in our country. The other day, a Sikh IPS officer is called a Khalistani simply because he happens to be wearing a turban. I mean, these are, shall we say, disturbing. I mean, very disorienting, shall we say, gaslighting being done in our country. And I think it is done in a very systematic, organized fashion. There's a question that I believe that the BJP needs to answer. If Nitasha Kaul is a Pakistani sympathizer and a threat to India's national security because she's questioned India's Kashmir policy, why wasn't her OCI card cancelled? Because the government had the intelligence. They had the wherewithal. Why would you let her come all the way to the country? And then the immigration officer tells her that she has been critical of the RSS. I want to ask this question of your wonderful viewers of your program, Shreya, because your program is one of the most respected and credible. Is a government bigger than the country? Narendra Modi is here today. He's going to go tomorrow. A new prime minister will happen. Even that person will go a day later. The country is forever. Are we going to stop mocking our institutions and our constitution and our democratic framework? I mean, these are questions that have to be asked. I mean, I want to make one point here. I remember Priya Pillai in the early days when Mr. Modi became prime minister was offloaded because she was allegedly going to be critical of Indian government's policies in a speech in London. Disha Ravi from Bengaluru, incidentally, arrested because she was part of a toolkit gang, 22 years old, trying to, make India mortified in front of the world because she supported the cause of the farmers, to whom Narendra Modi apologized a year down the line. I mean, Shreya, I'm so glad you're debating this subject because I believe that, we are now allowing ourselves to surrender to absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. I by the way, don't need a certificate from the BJP about patriotism. I believe Kashmir is integral to India, of course. And we are all patriots here. But I'm not scared. I don't believe this great country is so susceptible or fragile that one academic comes and criticizes the government or Mr. Modi and we begin to collapse like a pack of cards.
Therefore, Mr. Mahor, let me ask you this question since you're representing the BJP this evening. In the worst case scenario, just imagine the worst case scenario. What would have happened had the immigration officials let Professor Kaul pass through the immigration and enter Bangalore and attend that conference on the Constitution? in your mind, what is the worst case scenario that could have emerged? She's not a terrorist. She's not carrying a bomb. She was not there to assassinate anyone. क्या हो जाता? ऐसा क्या हो जाता कि आपने उन्हें रोक लिया preemptively? What was the khatra that she was carrying with her?
Yes. First of all, there is some rubbish going on regarding that she was sent back just because she was critical to RSS. Is there any official statement like this? No. This is just an agenda created by her own, cynical mind. No. So now let me tell you something about her, the cynical mind that I'm talking about. Right. See, she is a Kashmiri Pandit, and I know most of the Kashmiri Pandit. Most of them are pro-Indians. They will never say a single word against India. As far as she is concerned, she belongs to a particular, community. I'll call it. I mean, which is on an agenda that they will do something different. They will start talking against the nation. And how she started doing was she started first of all, creating a narrative that Kashmir was not a part of India before independence. Prior to independence, Kashmir was not a part of India, it was something different. And she started with that agenda. Definitely, anti-Indians, anti-nationals started, getting attracted to her agenda. And because she was a Kashmiri Pandit, they got some kind of a prey who was actually there in their lines of thought and putting their narrative forward. So this is what started happening. So do we want this kind of a narrative to be run in India and at some kind of a show that was organized by Congress? And how can Congress, even Congress people have heard many times, they always say Kashmir is an integral part of India, right? No, I've never heard any Congress. Kashmir is not a part of India or whatever. When they had government, even now.
Mr. Mahar, get to your point.
Apart from Rahul Gandhi, wait a moment. So, when Kashmir is an integral part of India, and some kind of a person, this cynical-minded lady, she comes down and starts saying that Kashmir was not a part of India before independence, and it should be isolated from India. Rather, read her, comments. Kashmiri terrorists are patriots. Okay?
I have.
Article 370, abrogation of Article 370 is a wrong move. What is this? Should we allow such kind of a narrative to roll around
Professor
in India?
Mahar, Professor Mahar, there are many people who disagree with the abrogation of Article 370. I don't. I think it's a right move. But there are many people who disagree with it. Does it mean they're anti-India? ठीक है? और आप कह रहे हैं, एक मिनट, Professor Mahar, just a minute. This is this argument is very reductionist. Professor Mahar, आपने मुझे एक और बात बोली, मैं उसका जवाब आपको जरा दे दूं. You said this is rubbish going around. It is a figment of the lady's imagination where she is blaming the RSS on her deportation. Look, the fact is that it was the MEA's job to come and clarify on the subject as to why she was deported.
She said,
अरे भैया, she has an OIC card. एक मिनट रुक जाइए ना, रुक जाइए. Fact is, the MEA has not opened their mouth. But Karnataka's BJP unit has, and they have posted this openly. Let me quote from their tweet, and then I will get Mr. Shivanna in. They are calling her anti-India. They are saying she is part of the Great India Brigade. They are also thanking security agencies at the immigration for catching an anti-India element and a Pakistani sympathizer. Actually, the BJP is the one that has given the game away. आप कह रहे हैं कि who has made the statement? Who is saying that she has been deported for being anti, anti-national and anti? There you are. The BJP has given the game away. Let Mr. Shivanna come in.
She has been deported because of being RSS against RSS. How this kind of an agenda is coming forward? No, I'm really surprised. She heard somebody. She said she heard somebody. So, are we, carrying her fears and fancies with us?
If she is saying,
discussing about
if she's saying, Let Mr. Sivanna come in. I'm sure Mr. Sivanna has something to say to you. Go ahead, Mr. Sivanna.
So the Congress government in the state of Karnataka was pleased to, give out this Constitution and National Unity Convention of 2024 to commemorate the 75th year since the adoption of the Constitution of India. And we were revolving around four themes: 75th year of India's Constitution, Constitution, welfare and development, developmental paradigms in Karnataka, democracy and inclusive Karnataka. Now, these themes and the panels for the plenary session was curated by academic partners such as National Law School of India University, ISEC, KSLU, and the Ambedkar Research Institute. Now, the two-day convention that was hosted by the government of Karnataka garnered gigantic support from young intellectuals and from believers in the Constitution of India. And we had over 100 experts and renowned professors who are addressing these issues. Now, every time the Congress government tries to institute or bring about such impressive programs and policies, thought-inducive programs and policies, the BJP has to resort to their underhanded tactics of diverting the people's attention from such thought inspiring programs and thwart the thought process. Now, we invited the Professor Nitasha Kaul as an esteemed delegate to be a part of the convention and share her thoughts. Now, my question is, other than certain baseless information being circulated on social media that basically stems out or emanates from WhatsApp universities, what is the allegation against Professor Nitasha that puts the sovereignty of this great nation under threat? The central government or the Ministry of External Affairs must clear its stance on the sense of fear or sense of insecurity that stems out of an independent, thinking, academic woman. If it is your allegation that she speaks about abrogation of Article 370, like Mr. Sanjay Jha pointed out, Mr. Fali S Nariman or legal luminaries such as Ramjet Malani, Kapil Sibal speak against abrogation of Article 370. Should we deport them all or should we exile them? And if it is your allegation that she speaks against the RSS, so many authors in India today have written books against the RSS. Should we deport all of them? Should we exile them all? And if it is your allegation that she speaks against Modi, there were many film actors, 600 people had signed an appeal, including luminaries like Naziruddin Shah. Should we deport all of them? Should we exile all of them? If it is your allegation that anybody or any individual who speaks against India or against Modi is an anti-national, it is completely false. It is an attempt to curb and thwart freedom of speech and expression. What is anti-India and anti-national is to thwart the independent thoughts of young individuals. This is a gross attempt by the Bharatiya Janata Party to play politics on things that is unnecessary.
Okay. Priya, as a citizen voice here, come in and tell me what you make of what played out at the Bangalore airport. Fact is that in the last 9 years, and I'm stating this simply because Sanjay Jha brought it up, why didn't they cancel her OIC card if they felt that she was anti-national or a threat to this country? Fact is that 102 OIC cards have been cancelled in the last 9 years, many of them critics of this government. But anyhow, Priya Chetty, come in here and tell me what you think of what has played out in Bangalore.
Thank you, Shreya. I think it's been, drawing attention to the very fact that one needed to supposedly cover up. If you didn't want to have a voice for somebody in a symposium like this, I think what has been done is exactly the opposite, because now the whole thing is under spotlight. People who are on the fringes, people like me who may not, spend all my time sort of picking up on news, or, even people like us are saying what really happened and how, and then you're going into detail. And I think it really is counterproductive. But as a citizen, what worries me is that the democracy that I value and I have grown up in very clearly embraces different voices. And however cliche that is, how is it that somebody has a different point of view can be such a threat? How insecure must we all be in order to be able to address a threat like that, if indeed that is the reason why she's deported? And it seems to be, there has to be some reason. This is frightening. I think that the thing that we take very much for granted is the ability to speak reasonably freely. And I'm deeply worried after seeing all this that it seems to be only on the surface. And Sanjay pointed out some very, very salient factors, and I think I am in agreement with him about it. The political leaders have a point of view which reflect their own party statement, and I think the BJP really has played into the gallery by confirming a point of view which is, I think, could have been just swept away or handled better. Now, this is not about optics. It's also I was just watching a comedy on episode on Saturday Night Live, and I was looking at the kind of things that are being said about a sitting president or a past president, and I was wondering, by now I think the host would be dead if this kind of the climate that we have in our country is sort of extrapolated there. It is amazing what they can get away with. Is it good, bad, or ugly? I don't know, but it's funny, and it is a reflection on what our society is. And sometimes we need to be able to smile and laugh to be able to get a proper grip. And most importantly, we need to be able to talk. If I have a point of view which is different from yours, Shreya, I certainly should be allowed to voice it. I'll give you another example. I'm on a WhatsApp group where there are a lot of conversations. And I find the moment one has even a slightly different point of view, even though we're all on the same page, there is an active trolling which happens. There is an active sort of suppression of the voice. And the engagement to address that is so long that finally one just steps out. And somebody as assertive as I am finally just finds it not worth my while to engage. And I step out. This is what happens when people get together and troll you, or get together and say my view, my way or the highway, my view or nothing at all. And that is scary because eventually what we will be is a herd of sheep. And India was never like that. India is a very vibrant place with, the very term is the diversity of religions, of points of view. Everything is reflected in India, the number of states and languages that we have. And I'm passionate and patriotic about my country. I come from an army background. I've been in different places in India. And I constantly heard so many different points of view. I have things that I'm very, very passionate about, and I probably don't see another person's point of view, but I respect it. So I think right now, I'm actually more than we maybe the day started. I'm a little bit more worried about what a democracy means to the government, whether it's at center or state, and what it means to thinking people like us. The lady has mentioned that she is probably the biggest threat of all because she is, in quotes, a thinking woman on a big threat.
Yeah.
That made me think a bit. Yeah.
I think this is something that all of us need to think about a bit because whether it's WhatsApp chats or it's dinner tables, we've become a country that constantly disagrees with each other, and that's good. That's part of democracy. But don't villainize someone just because they have a different point of view. Being anti-government is not being anti-India. That's a distinction all of us need to make. We'll leave it there for the moment. Priya Chetty, thank you very much. Sanjay Jha, good to have you on the show. Mr. Shivana, thank you very much. Pradeep Mahar, thank you very much as well. Thanks to all four of you for your point of view on a story that is still playing out. By the way, we've not heard the end of it. A quick look at what else is making news across the country now amidst the Israel-Palestine